Welcome back, dear viewers, and joining us over the phone is Dr. Adel Hamza, tourism expert. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, talking about the Grand Egyptian Museum, that all people are looking forward to attending its inauguration, all people around the world actually. What makes the Grand Egyptian Museum different from other museums in your opinion?
Of course, this is very clear that the Grand Egyptian Museum is going to be different than all other museums, because it's not going to be just a museum. It's going to be a culture center, including a lot of things, including one of the biggest, or you can say the biggest museum in the world, showing Egyptian history, and also going to have theaters, going to have cinemas, going to have cultural centers, going to have a lot of other activities related to the Egyptian history and the civilization of the world. You can imagine that this museum was actually planned to have 5 million tourists every year. This is the target of the Egyptian Museum. The importance of the museum for the world, of course, is going to be a lot of history about Egypt. It's going to have 100,000 pieces of the Egyptian history, of the monuments exhibited in that museum. The monuments which was actually stored in different stores in the the old Egyptian museum and other different stores is going to be exhibited in that museum. We'll have a stair called the Grand Stair, which will have 120 statue for the Egyptian kings, like Ramses II, like Akhenaten, Khafre, Menkaure, all those great history or that great kings of Egypt and queens going to be exhibited on that stairs. So this stair alone is a museum.
It was decided to transfer the treasures of King Tutankhamun from the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir to the Grand Egyptian Museum. What were the causes behind this decision, and how do you think it will be viewed? Is it a better location for this treasure?
Actually, this is very good question, because most of the people, they think that all the pieces of Tutankhamun was actually moved to the new museum. This is not right. Some of the pieces, because the pieces which was exhibited in the old Egyptian museum, not only that pieces which was found in the tomb, there were another pieces was stored actually, because storing this or exhibited this great amount which was found in the tomb of Tutankhamun was not available in the old museum. Half of the second floor in the old Egyptian museum was dedicated actually to monuments of Tutankhamun. But that was not enough actually to exhibit all the pieces was found in the tomb. So what happened actually, they took some of the masterpieces, the similar pieces, and they are going to show it in the Grand Egyptian Museum. Some of the other pieces from the tomb will be exhibited the same place at the old Egyptian Museum in Tahrir Square. So, but the way of exhibiting and showing the monuments of Tutankhamun as a great king and as a great value for the Egyptian history, it's going to be different in the Grand Egyptian Museum. And there is a special hall there called the Tutankhamun, just for Tutankhamun. This hall, the pieces is exhibited in a very, very modern and scientific way. So the people will enjoy actually seeing it at the Grand Egyptian Museum. On the other side, the same monument or the same pieces or the other pieces of Tutankhamun is going to be the same place at the old Egyptian Museum.
Great. How do you think the inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum will boost tourism in Egypt?
This is very, very important question, because actually it's a dream to the people who are coming to Egypt to see the Egyptian Museum. And by the way, they started to make a website for the Grand Egyptian Museum. They take or they accept a limited number of visitors every day right now before the opening of the grand opening of the museum, to the people to see the monuments and to see the things which is going to be exhibited to the museum as a way of promoting the Grand Egyptian Museum, because those people, when they go, they will talk about it. So this is a way of promoting the museum, because they allow some people to go, they allow some journalists and people who are writing about tourism and history to go to visit this museum. Then those people, they will write in the magazines around the world about the greatness of this museum. That will actually make the people very, very, excited to see this museum or to visit here to see this museum. And I think, in my opinion, maybe it will be in the second quarter of this year they will do the grand opening of the museum, which will be a very important for our tourism, of course.
Well, the Grand Egyptian Museum has won the Green Building Award. What are the specifications that are needed to give the building this great award, important award in the current era?
Actually, I didn't hear the question very well. The first
the Grand
question.
Egyptian Museum has won the Green Building Award for the best project in the field of green construction.
Yes.
Green Building Award.
Yes.
What are the conditions and specifications that must be met in the museum building to obtain this important award, and what's the significance of this award?
As I said before, that the Egyptian Museum is built in another way. It's going to be a friend for environment. They actually put in consideration a lot of things to make this museum keeping everything according to the standards of everything. And one of them, of course, the environment. When you go to the museum, you will see a lot of things in the museum, not only the monuments. It's going to be something for the civilization, something for the life, the Egyptian life in the history, the daily Egyptian life, the style nowadays. What it's targeting from the world actually to take care of the environment and all these things. So the museum is going to be something shining for everything, not only as a museum. For example, this week, by the way, we'll have a party in the museum for the great singer Kulthum. And you cannot imagine that this party was actually fully booked like a week ago.
Right. Well, 2 years ago, the giant entrance of the Grand Egyptian Museum rang out with some of the world's most well-known opera classics. And now it will host the 75th anniversary of the World Health Organization. How do you see such great events being held at the Grand Egyptian Museum?
This is also one of the ways to promote the museum. This is a way to attract people to see or to show the people what's going to be actually in this museum. As you said, these important events, the important operas which is planned to be in the next year and the years after, this all as or used as a way to show to the people of the world how important this place, how important this museum will be. And I'm very actually optimistic that this museum will attract for Egypt you can say half of the numbers of tourists we have right now.
Right. Well, the Grand Egyptian Museum is now offering limited tours to test the readiness of the site and the visitor experience.
Yes,
now,
right.
This is ahead of the grand opening of the museum, of course. How would you tell us more about these tours that are taking place right now?
Okay, this actually, as we call sometimes when you open a great project, something called soft opening. We are trying. We are trying to see what's wrong, what needs to be improved, what's the people, the feedback of the people about the museum, what's the feedback of the people about the way of exhibiting these monuments. their feedbacks about the place and about the whole thing of the museum. So this is also not just a way to have people visiting the museum. This is a way to know a lot or to put in consideration the feedback of the people who are actually interested of seeing this museum. All these things will be taken in consideration to reach the maximum of satisfaction before opening the museum, the grand opening.
Great. Well, sir, would you tell us more about the significance of developing the Grand Egyptian Museum and the Pyramids area, shedding light on the most remarkable features of the state development's plan for this area, the area surrounding the Grand Egyptian Museum and the pyramids?
This is a really very good and smart question, because most of the people, they talk about the museum only, but there are a lot of other things. Hidden works are done also inside the area of the pyramid itself, the complex of the pyramid itself, around the Sphinx and around the pyramid. There are a lot of things are done right now to reach for all this area, the area of the museum and the area of the pyramid, the complex itself, all of it will be in another way for the tourists who are coming to Egypt. You will see a lot of different ways in how the tourists are going to enjoy this area. They are planning to arrange all the services which is going to be inside the area of the complex of the pyramid. There are going to be a lot of plans to improve the area itself in terms of buildings, bathrooms, rest houses there, some of the restaurants there, some of the activities which will be done there. That will be really a very, very big movement from the way how it was and the way it's going to be after opening the Grand Museum and opening the works which is at the complex of the pyramids.
Well, sir, talking in general about tourism in Egypt, one of the main attractions of tourism is the the phenomena of the sun lightening the face of Ramses II twice a year. Now, would you tell us more about this phenomena and how attractive is it for foreigners visiting Egypt?
Yeah, this is really very traditional. This is very traditional tourism, which is attracting a lot of tourists to come every year, twice every year, to see this thing, because it's very unique for showing how was the architectures and the engineers in Egypt 4,000 years ago was very developed and very progressed to control the sun and how it goes inside the temple and how it reaches some of the areas inside the temple. This is actually a very, very, very great thing and very important thing. And it's considered one of the traditional tours which was in the last decade. Of course, this one attracts a lot of tourists, but we'll have a lot of things like this in the near future, and the world will see a lot of things happening in Egypt in that regard.
Right. Well, I would like to thank you so much, Dr. Adel Hamza, tourism expert. Many thanks for your insight, sir. And dear viewers, that brings us to the end of this edition of Cairo Local Time. Many thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more coming up here on Nile TV International.